And I am Judith Brown. Coming up this afternoon. Police provide chilling details of how a 16-year-old went to school with a loaded pistol, which accidentally discharged, causing injuries.
Also coming up this afternoon, the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana suspends provision of health insurance services to NHIS card holders. We'll tell you why.
We have details as government maintains it's decisively dealing with illegal mining despite claims of inaction. Welcome to the bulletin. Now, the Ghana Police Service has given an update on the Kumasi shooting incident with disturbing details surrounding how a 16-year-old went to the Adventist Senior High School campus with a loaded pistol. Now, one student is currently receiving treatment after the firearm was accidentally discharged. Let's take a look at the statement issued by the police. And as you can see on your screen, it says that the Ashanti Regional Police Command has initiated an investigation into a shooting incident that occurred at the Adventist Senior High School on Friday, April 4, 2025 at about 12 p.m. It also says that preliminary investigations reveal that a 16-year-old second-year student whose name has been withheld brought a locally manufactured pistol loaded with 1 BB ammunition to school. Now, we'll give you more details from that police statement, and it says that the student allegedly attempted to show the firearm to his classmates. Now, during the exchange, the firearm accidentally discharged, hitting another student. Now, all the names of those involved are being withheld, of course, because we know that they are minors. And so the police statement goes further to say that the injured student has since been treated at the Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital and is currently in a stable condition. The juvenile suspect has been arrested and the empty cartridge has been recovered and retained as evidence. It also says that during the questioning, the suspect stated that he took the weapon from his father's bedroom without his father's knowledge. Authorities are actively working to locate and arrest the father to assist with the investigation. And so we brought you details of that police statement on this latest incident that occurred at KNUST. Of course, we know that a student went to school with a loaded gun and shot another student accidentally. We're going to get more details of this particular story in our subsequent bulletins.
Well, in more news this afternoon, government is being urged to declare a tough stance on the illegal mining menace. The Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining says the situation is not improving, hence the need for government to be tougher on illegal miners. Governance analyst Professor Ransford Jampo shares his view as well. Listen to him and convener of the Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Ken Ashwe.
If we do not declare a state of emergency and begin to let galamseyers, illegal miners, see the full force of the state of Ghana, then Ghana eventually may be a failed state, because you are sitting in your country and some people are controlling certain forests, and then the minister comes to outline or mention areas that we have captured, and then you have seasoned investigators like Erastus coming up to say that no, these areas are still in the control or in the hands of quote and unquote galamsey rebels and all that. It does not show the force. You see, this is an executive presidency. Executive presidency has the power. Okay, so last 2 weeks I said it. Let us not wait till election 2028 is approaching. It will be difficult. This is the time to fight illegal mining with all the forces that the Ghanaian state has conferred, you know, on us as a people.
This is a president who said he was going to do oral and has done it. So how come this our president who said he's going to revoke LI now is telling us that it's going to be amended? And so, and that for me, is one of the biggest blots, because you see that LI is a bad law.
It's a bad law.
It's a terrible law. It's a law that is built on nothing.
Good enough.
It is the intention is good. The intention of the law is to ensure that the likes of Newmont, Chirano, the bauxite mine, who've been mining since like 2005, if you go into some of the areas that Newmont has mined and they have reclaimed in Achim area, you will not even recognize that mining has happened there. So the intention is to be able to get the EPA to be able to ensure that those people, when they are mining, the environmental protection things are done. But I can tell you that when the bill was even being, the LI was being considered, things in the LI, if you go into Regulation 4, for example, you know, they were going to respect the guidelines that was in existence. That then allowed that before you go and do mining, you have to start with the Forestry Commission. They would have to tell you whether you go there or not. But unfortunately, they turned that upside down. You will go and see the Minerals Commission, go and see the EPA. You might even have the president, the minister, sign your this thing before you go and see the Poor Forestry Commission see you. Who has been whose appointment, who is under the minister? You think he can be telling you that don't go and mine there? It won't happen. In the past law, the past guidelines dealt with production forest reserves. Production forest reserves are forest reserves that you do logging in. This current law opens it up completely. Then also you have the issues about you know, when it comes to the under this law, the issues around prospecting and all of that are not in there. So what you do is that people run quickly and go under this law. Look, if you look into Regulation 8 and 9, they go quickly under this law and want to then go and start mining. And you see, so we've turned everything upside down. And the most important thing is that this law is built on nothing.
Now we'll stay on the fight against illegal mining because the Minister for Environment, Murtala Mohammed, says government is dealing with illegal mining and will win the fight. He also accuses the previous government of secretly recalling military men taxed to protect the forest reserves.
You can't have the entire forest areas policed entirely by the security agencies. Yeah. November 2022, the military men who were policing more or less these forest areas were all asked to withdraw by the previous administration. So it was free for all. They were all asked. They withdrew all the military men and other security forces who were manning these forest areas. They asked all of them to withdraw. For what reason? Perhaps for political reasons or reasons known to the previous administration. Now you have a new government that came to office. In 4 months, less than 4 months, we are just virtually 3 months getting to 4 months. We have been able to identify that these people were asked to withdraw because they never announced it. We never knew that the secret, maybe perhaps Dr. Kenachibe might have had information. We never knew. We never knew that they asked all the security forces to withdraw from the forest areas. Now, we never knew that before elections, that was November 2022. They withdrew all of them so that they can mine them more, because that's the only explanation. So I'm saying that we came as a result.
You see that it coincides with when the LI was passed.
And so if you observe, so the enormity of the challenge confronting us, that's why I want people to appreciate what we have done so far.
Well, you're still watching Weekend Central. If you just tuned in more news this afternoon. After losing more than 13 friends to Red 225 abuse, Yemo Tete is left with no choice but to advocate for the youth to stay away from drugs. Currently, Ghana's future working population is under threat as Red 225 crisis looms. And in this very report, we explore the dangers of opioids among the youth. The ghettos are always active when friends converge to undertake the daily ritual of smoking and drug use. The worst are scuffles when there is some sort of misunderstanding. It is this same neighborhood, La, where Yomo Tete, popularly known as Housemaster, was born and bred. Now, his attention has been shifted to a more lucrative venture rather than engaging in drugs. He cleans the beaches whilst keeping hopes alive of getting investment to develop the area. Losing more than 13 friends to Red 225 abuse was enough to show disaffection to drugs.
This pills, it killed one of my classmates in front of me. That one first, not the red self, it not be common. Where you go get red, 250 to buy. First, it be D10. D10, that's small tablets. We pour water for on top. We are trying our possible best to get him life, you see, but we couldn't make it. He passed inside that. And one of my guy where he led, I tested it, where I see how it goes. So, no, it's not good for my sister. That's why I stopped.
He fears the worst as a crisis looms.
The boys, some of them, if they take like this, they steal. They enter people their room. They control them. They read. Some of them they take. They push them to where they're not supposed to do to go. You see, they control them. You go see, say they go do careless, anyhow, go talk.
With as low as 20 cedis, you can afford a tablet of Red 225 to consume. Psycho, another victim, does not joke with his pills. The feeling is everything to hustle to sustain its intake, he tells me. Well, it's been a little over 10 minutes that Psycho has taken his pill, and I want to know how the feeling is like. Psycho, how do you feel?
I feel like I work in heaven. I see God plus the angel.
You don't mean it, you're joking. You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure also.
How the body they do you?
My body all the sweet, all my body like they work me like something they do me sweet.
Wow.
All my mind is sweet me.
Wow. So that is Psycho's current state after taking the pill, and so you can tell that the reasons why people take this pill differs from person to person. The abuse is what puts people in the numb position, but unlike others, he takes charge and doesn't allow the drug to take full control of him. For many struggling with poverty and unemployment, it offers a temporary escape from life's harsh realities, but the cost is devastating. Furthermore, Ghana's future workforce is at risk, and the Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, George Pariado, couldn't have said it any better.
If we don't deal with this holistically and drastically, a time will come we will have a deficiency or a deficit in the number of people who will be available and able to work. This threat is real, and I've said time without number that this is even bigger than a galamsey threat.
Addiction of opioids drives users into crime, isolation and hopelessness, tearing families apart and weakening entire communities.
As young people, my advice to you is that 5-10 minutes of getting high could be the end of your life. And so don't get high, rather work hard to contribute meaningfully to the development of Ghana. Ghana needs you.
Additionally, the health risks are severe. Red 225 was never meant for recreational use, and its abuse can lead to respiratory failure, heart problems, and serious mental disorders. The clergy is equally worried about this epidemic silently spreading across the country.
What is going on? If nothing is done in the next 12 months to 5 years, it's going to be so terrible. And many more people are being shifted there, and they get nothing. And you see, I'm doing a lot of all night. In the night, when you are driving, Jesus Christ, and you can see some of the spots. You can see somebody standing like a zombie. He has totally lost it. And this cannot continue. So my prayer is, let's provide real help. Not just talking to them, not just praying for them, but finding them jobs, and finding them way to train them.
A chilling phrase has emerged, "Wunim red," meaning, do you know red? A question that now symbolizes the growing crisis. As scary as it may sound, advocacy groups are championing for the control of the root causes of drug abuse, which include poverty, unemployment, and lack of social support. George Queenan, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana says its member facilities have suspended the provision of health insurance services to National Health Insurance Scheme cardholders. Now, this decision, the group justifies on the basis of non-payment of outstanding claims by government. I will do some more stories, or we'll stay on this particular matter because we are speaking to Samuel Donko Boache. He is the Vice President of the Private Health Facilities Association of Ghana. Good afternoon, sir. Now, can you tell us more about this situation?
Good afternoon to everyone. I am Donko Samuel Boache, as you mentioned. The situation is true as the release that is out is true. The situation is getting worse and out of hands. For now, we have no money to buy drugs, non-drugs, pay salaries, SNITs, and other things that help us to work. In fact, I must say that the private health facilities, we were not actually ready to do this. But the government agencies, such as SNIT and GRE, they have compelled us to do this. Because they are basing on the release of NHIS last 2 weeks, when NHIS released a statement that they're ready to pay us. So they have the notion that we have been paid and we are refusing to pay our SNITs and our members. But the truth of the matter is that no money has hit our accounts. And as I speak to you now, most of us, we have no drugs, we have not paid salaries for 3 good months. We have no pay because government has not paid us. And these government agencies have summoned all of us to court. ECG disconnecting our lights because we don't have money to pay them. GRA taking us to court because we don't have money to pay them. Nurses, doctors, and other medical staff not coming to work because we have not paid them. So we're just empty.
And if you can tell us, basically, what are the concerns of some of your members? Because once you've not been paid for a number of months,
and
definitely...
it's coming. So therefore, we are tired.
Can you hear me, sir? Yeah, I'm asking if you can share some of the concerns of your members not being paid for a number of months. Definitely, you're feeling the pinch. Tell us more.
Yes. Now, some of them of our members, from July last year, they have not been paid. September last year, they have not been paid. Others from October and November, up to date, they have not been paid. And we keep taking drugs on credit. We keep even human resource on credit. And this is becoming serious. You go to the facility.
It seems that we are having a bit of a challenge reaching some of
No
them. Okay, we can hear you.
The job, very, very, very difficult. Extremely difficult to do. And that's why now we've come out to say that we are not going to take any person who comes there with NHI card. So at least we can get some money to pay our suppliers, our workers, and then our bills. So it is true that we stop. And today we have urged all our members not to deal with any NHI card bearing a person until we are paid. If you don't pay us till next week, we will put all our tools down. We will close down all our facilities. Because if the facility is sitting down there without drugs, without human resource, then we don't call it a facility. And that's what maybe the NHIS wants us to do. So by next week, we don't hear from them not paying us. It will be good we close all the facility down than to be killing people who come to our facility.
Now, Mr. Donko, have you been engaging with government so far? And if yes, what have they been telling you?
We've engaged with the NHIS boss, the new one who just came. He told us we should wait after the budget. After the budget, we have waited and we have known that Parliament have approved the money for them to pay us. He keeps saying next week, tomorrow, next week, tomorrow, next week, tomorrow. He is not paying, but he has brought a statement out telling the whole Ghanaians that he has paid. And that is even giving us a big pressure. Because any supplier who comes to you and you tell him you have not received money, say no, I have this showing that NHIS says they have paid you. Any state member, state officer, even your workers, reading that statement is telling them that we have been paid. So whatever we tell them, they don't agree.
So you're saying that the NHIS boss is peddling falsehood by saying he's paid the workers there for them to supply these goods to NHIS cardholders?
Has paid you, but we don't have any money. And that is why we are saying that per their statements, we don't have any money. So they should release the money to us, else we put our tools down.
Many thanks for your time. Samuel Donko has been speaking to us. Of course, he is representing the workers who have to supply drugs for NHIS card holders, and he has been talking about some of their sentiments as they've not been paid, as against what the NHIS boss has been saying over the last few weeks. George.
And now the 23-kilometer rehabilitation and dualization of the Takrady-Agona-Nkwanta road is ahead of scheduled 36-month completion, with government confident that the contractor will finish ahead of schedule despite the state owing his unpaid certificates. Roads Minister Kwame Govins-Agbodza inspected the roads in the Western region, says government is minded about the economic value the project brings to the country and will honor its commitment. The minister has meanwhile directed the contractor just more limited to ease the huge traffic congestion that affects motorists. Well, let's connect with our colleague Komla Kluche, and here's with the Roads Minister, and joins us more for this afternoon. Komla, you are with the minister, and this is what he has said. They're going to honor commitment. Then, what more can you tell us, Komla?
Well, if you look at the Takrady-Agona-Nkwanta stretch, it's a very busy stretch that has a lot of heavy vehicles that use that side. Most of them even go towards the Ivory Coast side, and many of them equally cut bauxite and manganese also from the Awasu side towards the Takrady port as well. But what the minister has been saying is that, yes, of course, this contract that was awarded to Jasmine, he knows that the state is owing him huge sums of money. However, the contractor, with the capacity and ability that he has been able to do the road for more than 51% of schedule, and he believes that with the attitude that the contractor puts in, well, to a very large extent, he believes that the work would be completed even way ahead of the schedule. But let's listen to the road minister, Kwame Govins-Agbodza, who was speaking at the site where there were equally concerns raised about the congestion of the road. Let's listen to the minister.
They are time bound to be able to do these things, yes. And there are people you want to do things on time. There are people looking for work. You can give some people the opportunity. There are some activities that are actually better carried out in the night when you don't have too much interaction. We don't have any issues with the capacity or the quality of work. Just more can do, and then the Comptran. When I was a kid, I used to hear Comptran and do it as a consultant. So the team here has capability. The other one, which is got to do with government side of the commitment, which I will not wait for you to raise. It's about our commitment to honor your certificate. Yes, that one is a big challenge. But you are a Ghanaian, so you are working, because Ghana is not closing down. Yes, please. We may be down today financially, but we shall rise again. So those of you who are committed to keep faith with the state and still invest when things get better, so you are the ones we should also pay attention to. So we appreciate people like you who are still working, despite the fact that you have huge sums of money owed to you, and you kept paying your salary, the salary to your staff and everything.
Komla, before you part company, I know Jasmine is a contractor working on this very project, and he has raised some major challenges. And how is the minister dealing with this one?
Yes, of course. I mean, the issues he's raised has to do with also the raising of the certificate, but even beyond the issue of certificate, the concern of compensation on the road has equally emerged. The amount of money that the state has allocated for compensation from the initial start and what actually is on the ground now, it does appear that the money is woefully inadequate. However, Dr. Jackson, who is the managing director of Jasmine, says he is unfazed with this. What is important is to the effect that the major road that he is on is constructed, and he remains committed to it. The assurance is given by the minister. He takes his word for it. But the state must also honor the obligation, which is the payment of debt to contractors. Dr. Justice Amos spoke to me.
Sure.
Okay, so far, percentage completion is about 51% complete. And the project is 36 months, and we are ahead of progress. The actual progress should have been 47%. So far, we are 51%, and that is where we have gotten to. These are the traffic issues which are bound to happen when road is under construction. But as much as I'm concerned, we have worked a lot. We've done a lot to ease traffic congestion. You know, every situation in business, you have a limit where you can stretch the contractor. We are depending on our bankers, and the payment terms which on the government side, which they were supposed to honor, is gone past, and the bank is also a bit jittery. Yes, a bit jittery. So the completion of this project will depend upon the payment. We are still working. We haven't stopped, but we could have done better. We could have increased production if funds are being released. I take his assurance because I'm sure he's a man of integrity, and once he said it, he will do it, and then we all see a successful completion of the.
Kamala, before we let you go, can you tell us what the minister will be heading next from here?
Well, he is wrapping up the Western region, and he will return to Accra the weekend, and then they regroup to head towards the northern side of the country. He intends to do all of this whilst Parliament is on recess. Yeah. But what he intends to do actually is also to get some of the contractors to go onto the road and then do a lot of remedial work, especially in areas where there's huge congestion. For instance, late last night, we saw Oswell that went onto the road. That's the Ashama Athena side that is heavily congested. Come back to that side and start the construction. They understand, start the remedial works. The understanding is that he will require just 3 weeks to be able to do this. He's equally part of the contractors that are owed, but they say that with the goodwill that the minister has from them and the assurances he's giving them, they are ready to work with him. Their business is purely to construct roads, and the roads that they are to construct must equally be of quality that will last. The minister has raised concerns about even how deteriorating most asphalt roads constructed in recent time have been, and that an investigation will go into this matter. But he will equally be doing the Takwa stretch where there are some concerns, and a directive is expected to come from him later tonight on that as well.
Kamala, thanks so much for your time. Kamala Kluche is a man following the minister, and he brought us to speed on the current state of the Takoradi Agona Kwanta road dualization, where the minister is confident will be completed within 36 months. Judith.
Now, this afternoon, emotions run high as Joanna Deladem Yabani, the KNUST student allegedly murdered by her boyfriend, was laid to rest under strict funeral protocols. Now, media access to the final rites was heavily restricted, limiting coverage of the solemn ceremony. Well, Stanley Niblo is joining us now with an update on this particular situation. Stanley, it must have been a tough time for the family.
I must say that this has been a very tough moment for the family, the friends of the deceased, that is Joanna Deladem Yabani, and also sympathizers who thronged into the Jehovah Shammah Assembly of God here at Ashonma Estate to actually bid farewell to the deceased. But I must say that, like you mentioned, the entire process was restricted to the media because, you know, on the 27th of February, when the remains of Joanna Deladem Yabani was discovered on the campus of KNUST dead, the lawyers, the case is in court, and so the lawyer asked the security safeguarding the man or personnel providing security for the funeral that they should restrict the funeral to media coverage, and so that was exactly what they did over here. And so for us, the media, we have to position ourselves outside of the premises so that we can capture or catch a glimpse of whatever incident or the people who have been trooping into the ground to also bid farewell to the deceased and also the deceased family with them or console with them. So that's it. As I speak, the entire final funeral rite has been over, and the remains of Joanna Daladem Yabani have been conveyed in a hearse to the voter region, to precisely Loba in the voter region. That is where her remains is going to be interred.
And now, Stanley, also, have you been speaking to any of the family members, or friends, or sympathizers of Joanna Yabani, and what have they been saying?
So, Judith, one thing that happened here is that they prevented the media from speaking, and also because looking at the circumstances surrounding the demise of the lady, it has thrown every sympathizer, every family member into a state of mourning and sorrowful moment, and so they were not able to speak to the media. But actually, KNUST, I mean, the mates of this deceased lady, they conveyed themselves in a bus to the premises to also come and bid farewell to their colleague. And so some of them were able to speak to the media, and for them, they only touted how good the lady is, and they touted the friendly manner in which the lady relates to everybody on campus.
Right. Many thanks for your time. We are definitely going to keep tabs on this situation and give you more updates in a subsequent bulletin. Stanley Nible, who has been following the funeral rites for the late Joanna Daladem Yabani, who was allegedly murdered by her boyfriend on the campus of KNUST. George.
Well, just so you know, you can get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook, TV3 Ghana. Engage us with your comments on stories that have aired so far. Now, we take you to the Tamale metropolis, where residents there have described the nomination of Adam Abubakar Tokoro as the Tamale Metropolitan Chief Executive as a move in the right direction. Reacting to the nomination, the residents say they believe that the nominee can influence developments to the area. The local government ministry released the list of nominees, including Northern Region. And now let's touch base with our regional correspondent, Christopher Marco, and he's been gauging the mood of residents in Tamale. And Christopher, tell us more about this. What is the general atmosphere looking like in the Northern Region over the nominations of MTCs?
Yes, so George, it's full of happiness for the people of the greater Tamale metropolis, to be precise, because for them, it is the only metropolis in the Northern Region. And so having someone who is well-versed in local governance issues, someone who has the experience, someone who has been working at the community level, getting this opportunity, something that will benefit the entire metropolis, because he's going to influence more development into the area. You go to other parts of the region like Zabzugu, Tolong, Mion and Yendi, they are also very happy that the president has settled on someone who will be able to do the job and also ensure that development comes to the various assemblies. And so, unlike previous nominations where we see people going about burning lorry ties and also destroying some party billboards, this time it's like there is some sanity amongst the residents. Let's take a listen to what some of the residents have been saying.
It is not a surprise thing to us, because the said person have been an assembly member before, so with the chunk of experience, he has served more than two times as an assembly member, and also he has been a very vibrant presiding member of the metropolis. So actually there is no corner in the metropolis that may appear new to the Honorable Abubakar Takuru, who has been nominated for this particular portfolio.
So this is a man who is well versed in the local government process, and he's a unifier. I know he's going to bring something great to Tamale. He's coming to sanitize Tamale. He's coming to make the street of Tamale very neat, so that investors it can become attractive for investors.
He has the experience which
we all believe that he's someone who can work, and he's patient, he's matured in politics, which we have seen that he can handle the municipality, the metropolis with good heart, and he can liaise with the elders of the party, elders of the communities, to see how possible best he can bring development to the good people of Tamale.
He was clearing rubbish everywhere, building toilets, building schools. He did marvelous job for the community, and he became a presiding member. I've been hearing his name, the work that he has been doing. He did a very good job for Tamale Metro, and I believe he will work better and much better for Tamale Metro.
I know he can work very hard for the people of Tamale and then work out problems that the people of Tamale are facing.
Judging from the comments from the residents, it's safe to say good name is better than riches. That's how we draw this very question, this very discussion, MMDC's nomination, where residents in Tamale have okayed the nomination of Awaka Tokoro as their nominee.
Now, sources at the Auditor General's office have revealed some public officers in Ghana are still declaring their assets despite the president's 31st March deadline. Now, the 1992 Constitution of Ghana mandates public officers to declare their assets, but who is required to make this declaration and why? In this report, we delve into the details of asset declaration, its purpose, and the loopholes that undermine its effectiveness.
Under Article 286 of the 1992 Constitution, public officers, including the President, Vice President, Ministers, Members of Parliament, and other high-ranking officials, are required to declare their assets. This was provided for in order to promote transparency and accountability in public offices. By declaring their assets, public officers demonstrate their commitment to serving the public interest rather than personal gain. Despite these good intentions, however, there remain significant loopholes that undermine the effectiveness of the law. Until recently, public office holders would seal their asset declarations, making them inaccessible. But former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo put an end to this practice, citing the lack of legal provision for sealing declarations.
Early 2017, I said that practice cannot continue because my fear was that the law says that that declaration can be produced in court. So assuming that I have been asked by a court to bring your declaration and I sent it to court, they open it and there's newspaper inside, or even the form is inside but not completed. However, I've given you a certificate that you have declared your assets.
Currently, the Auditor General's office is not empowered to verify the accuracy of declared assets, nor can they publish the declarations. According to Mr. Domelevo, this lack of transparency and accountability creates an environment conducive for corruption.
The issue is that you will have only filled on a paper that you have a house, but the evidence of it, where is the house, is what the Auditor General does not know, what we refer to as verification. That is why the law is not fit for purpose, because should we continue under the current regime, it creates a lot of loopholes for corrupt officials to do what we call anticipatory declaration, where someone, having been appointed the minister, sees there's a lot of money in the ministries, he sees a plot of land which is near to his house, then he declares that he owns a 5-story building on that plot. So he steals money or she steals money, buys that plot, build a 5-story building before leaving office. So when you question him or her, she will say, bring my earlier declaration. The Auditor General is not God. So even if you come and you say, I have one house and you would like to take me to the house, show me the house, and then put it on paper that you have one house, you may be having 10, which I don't know. But then if it is published, people in Kumasi may say, no, but he has a house also here in Kumasi.
President John Dramani Mahama, in January 2025, directed all government appointees to declare their assets by March 31, 2025. President Mahama made this announcement after submitting his own assets to the Auditor General.
I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office.
Although we've not been given an official number yet, sources from the Auditor General's office say till now, some public officers are still trooping in to declare their assets against the President's March 31 deadline. Will the President sanction public officers who disobey the directive? Judith Brown, TV3 News.
You're still watching Weekend Central. We'll go for a very first break. We'll be back with more news. Do stay with us.
bomb. My colleague Christabel Saxe-Treve finds out.
A recent earthquake in Thailand and Myanmar saw high-rise story buildings dancing for survival. The first ever documented earthquake in Ghana occurred within the Olmina township in 1615. This earthquake was estimated to have an epicentral intensity of 8. However, the first destructive earthquake in the country was recorded in December 1636 within Axim. Over the years, it was observed that earthquakes in Ghana have been concentrated in the southern part of the country. In June 1939, the most destructive earthquake in Ghana's history occurred in Accra, causing 130 injuries, 17 deaths, and destruction of many buildings and properties. It was followed by a series of earth tremors. Over the past 5 years, earth tremors have been occurring within the Greater Accra region. This continuous occurrence has raised eyebrows, given indications of a pending potential earthquake event. Airport City is Accra's business hub, filled with modern skyscrapers and corporate offices. Experts warn that Accra could experience a major earthquake. But is a city, and more specifically, Airport City, ready for it?
Ghana has about 12 earthquake monitoring stations installed in Ghana. In terms of the coverage and the density, it is not enough. Take a country like Switzerland, they have about 200 earthquake monitoring stations, even though earthquake risk there is less compared to that of Ghana. We need to establish a well-developed early warning systems in Ghana. Detailed micro-zonation studies is carried out. So we should know all the various hazards.
Engineers say many of the high-rise buildings in Airport City follow modern engineering standards. While some buildings are structurally sound, others may be at risk. But even with strong buildings, a disaster plan is essential. So what measures are in place if an earthquake strikes?
A full-scale simulation exercise was undertaken by NADMO with the assistance of U.S. Embassy and then the North Dakota National Guard. This simulation exercise was to test various institutions, their standard operating procedures, and then also to find the gaps within them so that moving on it will enhance managing such disasters. And we looked at it from a multi-hazard perspective, not just earthquakes, but because earthquakes can come along with fires, can come along with flooding, can come along with drowning.
Head of Geological and Radiological Department, NADMO, Dr. Betha Kusimi, tells me specific response teams have been prepared for general disasters and continuous public awareness for the general public.
With the help of UNESCO, we have also installed earthquake guards at some earthquake-prone areas. And these guards not only monitor the earthquakes, but also it acts as an early warning system. With the help of UNESCO and WFP, we have put in place some videos that are running in some of the media houses at prime hours, teaching the public on how to what to expect during an earthquake and how the do's and don'ts.
Responses varied when asked what to do if an earthquake occurred. While some say they have no idea, others mention it is best to find refuge within a steady furniture.
The first thing I'll do is I'll try and run. It depends on where you are. If you are within the building, I think you should run for cover under a desk or maybe somewhere safe within the building. But if you are outside the building, you need to move to a spacious place where in case the building collapses, it will not collapse on you.
While some buildings may be strong, the lack of awareness could lead to chaos in a real emergency. But while some structures are built to withstand shocks, the general preparedness of businesses and workers remain low. The big question is, how ready is Ghana for a major earthquake? Christabel Saxe-Treve, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, Ghana's fight against COVID-19 was indeed challenging, especially with the backdrop of corruption scandals. Despite these challenges, the government set up several systems to combat the pandemic, including the scramble for vaccines to save many. Sarah Penkro has been finding out the lessons Ghana has learned from the management of COVID-19 5 years on.
Was constricted and the country was on the hunt for vaccines. As with the lack which has defined events, the country would be the first sub-Saharan country to receive the COVID-19 vaccines from the COVAX facility. Receiving the shots at the initial stage was a challenge for many Ghanaians, as misconceptions about its after effect dominated conversations. Names like Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, Sputnik V, Moderna, and Pfizer became commonly used words.
I don't want to take the vaccine because I don't know where the medicine is coming from, so that I can't take my life to danger place.
For me, I will not take the COVID-19 vaccine because I've not had enough education about it.
There was a rush for the vaccines, especially when we got the first 600,000. I remember I came on the 24th of February 2021, and we were very excited. But after the first 600,000 doses were deployed, we didn't get the additional doses that we needed for the second dose and so on. And that is when the hesitancy started. But largely, I think that as a country, we fared well, considering the fact that within a period of 3 years, we had vaccinated at least 16 million persons.
The country's healthcare system was undoubtedly stretched, and the COVID-19 task force could only give nothing but their best.
Everybody came together to work together to make sure that our response as a country saved more lives than we lost. It is sad remembering the patients and the citizens, the friends that we lost.
Many holding centers were activated at various hospitals to manage patients. And the lasting legacy from the pandemic for many Ghanaians is the Ghana Infectious Disease Center, the country's first and only of such facility.
5 years down the line, there are no COVID patients on admission here, even though the place is still being used to treat infectious diseases and has some few patients on the other wards.
Kudos to all the Ghanaian healthcare, especially those in the ICUs. They were stressed because working in that TIDEX suit for 5 minutes is stressful. But to stay in sometimes an hour, sometimes 2 hours, just to make sure that the critically ill patient gets some cure, they are the people we should doff our hats to.
5 years on, not everyone has moved on from the trauma. Dr. Segu, lead testing of patients, recounts what their greatest fear was during the pandemic.
My team members, they were my headache. I did not want any of my team members to fall being infected.
Public education, enhanced surveillance, and contact tracing intensified. Preventive kits would be highly sought after, with prices skyrocketing. Ghana's COVID story, as with all other things, would have its fair share of corruption. A special audit by the Auditor General would reveal that the outbreak of the virus created avenues for persons to rape state coffers, with the justification at the time being, we are not in normal times, by government officials, served as an excuse to circumvent procurement regulations. The Sputnik V vaccines procurement scandal, among many other scandals, cannot be easily forgotten. But as a country, how have we fared 5 years on?
We did not do the post-COVID review. And if I ask you today, what was the major thing that we did during the COVID? Your answer would be Agenda 111. But if we had gone back to reflect, we would have realized that going into hospital was the cheapest and easiest means. The problem was how to find the disease. We have not invested anything post to improve on our surveillance.
It definitely was a difficult moment for most people, but for the frontline health workers, would they be willing to offer same sacrifice again if the need be?
Even the citations that were issued out to frontline workers, I can say boldly that GIDC staff were left out.
None of you got a citation.
And I think the hurt is still there, especially those of us who began GIDC with COVID. We think our efforts have not been well appreciated.
Though so many things happened, which to me as the lead of the laboratory to GIDC, it was not desirable. However, by my speciality, I will do it again.
COVID was difficult. It was very difficult, and to tell you the truth, the basic thing for me was sometimes some just basic insurance. We didn't get some of them.
People have felt maligned because if there is another pandemic, I bet you, we will struggle to look for healthcare workers who will respond to country. They will respond to God, but for country, I doubt that the people are ready to respond.
It was a significant moment in the life of every Ghanaian, and the selfless acts of all frontline workers cannot be overlooked. But have we fared well as a country in appreciating their work? Posterity will indeed be the judge.
Wow, Judith, time really flies. Already it's been 5 years after COVID. I remember COVID days just like yesterday.
Yes. And you remember how much the nose masks were?
I know, right?
I mean, the rush for nose masks.
I can tell you.
I think we should do a story on that as well, because it will be interesting. Well, that's our wrap-up Weekend Central right here on TV3. It's a pleasure coming to you always. My name is Judith Brown.
And my name is George Quinn. For more news update, just log on to our website. It's 3news.com. Also follow us on 3news.gh on Instagram. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.
What is one misconception about the police service that you want to correct?
That corruption misconception.
When the money fell on my thing and then it went on, the value was $100.
My guy, don't you have room for new members?
Showbiz 360 shows every Saturday at 8 p.m.